What if the fairy tale was just that, a story destined to end? In a moment that sent shockwaves across headlines and social media, Prince Harry has finally broken his silence, and the words are as clear as they are heartbreaking. There is no future with her. After years of intense public scrutiny, royal fallout, and a relationship that captured the world's attention, Harry's first public statement confirms what many speculated, but few expected to hear so directly. No more cryptic interviews, no more reading between the lines. This is Harry unfiltered. Today on Past Paradise, we're diving into the emotional, cultural, and royal weight behind this stunning admission. What led to this moment? What does it mean for Meghan, for their children, and for Harry's future alone? Stay tuned as we unpack the full story behind this powerful declaration, the subtle clues that led up to it, and what insiders are now revealing about the road ahead for the prince who walked away from the crown and now from his most defining relationship. There's no future with her. In an emotional BBC interview in May 2025, Prince Harry expressed his inability to envision bringing his family, including Meghan, Archie, and Lilibet, back to the United Kingdom. A rumored comment that there's no future with her about Meghan Markle has become the subject of conjecture due to insufficient protection. Nevertheless, a careful examination of his honest statements and reliable reporting reveals no proof that he made such a claim. Harry's public speech instead focused on legal battles over UK security, the emotional toll of family separation, and his lingering hope for reconciliation. He stressed that safety concerns, not a sense of no future, were the driving force behind the decision. Harry said he would love a reconciliation and that life is precious. He also bemoaned his inability to provide his kids with a connection to their British heritage. "I can't see a world in which I would bring my wife and children back to the UK," he told the BBC. In the meantime, Meghan is focused on her activities, including her brand, as ever. According to sources, these projects primarily demonstrate Meghan's independence and frequently only mention Harry in passing. According to reliable sources, the pair remains united in their California life, prioritizing their children, privacy, and professional development, despite some publications' conjectures about marital tension. Prince Harry closes a chapter in his royal life. Prince Harry declared that he would no longer risk the safety of his wife and children to return to the UK, thereby indicating the end of his ties in all but name. He also explained the dissolution of his security appeal in a dramatic and emotionally raw BBC interview that aired in May 2025. The Duke, who was 40 at the time, described how he had no legal options and felt deeply betrayed by an organization that he believed was using security as a tool after losing his legal challenge before the Court of Appeal, where Judge Sir Geoffrey Voss upheld the government's decision to reduce his state-funded protection. He recounted King Charles III's persistent silence with evident sadness, blaming it entirely on the ongoing security dispute. He also bemoaned the fact that he can't see a world where Meghan, Archie, and Lilibet might ever return safely. Regarding his father's cancer fight, which was discovered in February 2024, he subsequently underlined that life is precious, emphasizing that the breakup of his British ties was driven by an urgent need to protect people he loves rather than by hatred. He publicly expressed his profound desire for reconciliation, drawing on First Nations teachings on truth and healing. However, he acknowledged the need for a security-related solution to fully mend the breach. Harry ultimately expressed that he was not giving up on peace, but was certain that this chapter, characterized by open legal disputes, family silence, and personal vulnerability, had come to an end. He was intent on focusing on the future in California and making an effort to create a new path free from previous limitations. The royal family officially confirmed Prince Harry's status following the split. It became evident in the middle of 2025 that the Sussexes had a tense relationship with the British royal family when it was revealed that Prince Harry's legal defeat over state-funded UK security had permanently damaged his relationship with the Crown. The Duke's unsuccessful appeal in May before the Court of Appeal, where justices supported the Home Office's decision to decrease his protection, was the impetus for the divorce, both legally and emotionally. After lamenting the need to choose between safety and his family, Harry emphasized that he can't see a world in which Meghan and their children return to the UK without adequate security. Concurrently, it was disclosed by insiders that King Charles III had hardly spoken to Prince Harry since the court decision, which came after a brief last meeting in early 2024 when the king was diagnosed with cancer. The majority of royal specialists now concur that this breakdown is not a passing argument, but rather somewhat resembles a formal separation marked by a change in power dynamics. Meghan is viewed in royal circles as the more powerful partner when it comes to deciding whether to leave the European Union. Harry is reportedly exploring a hybrid relationship to maintain a strong presence in California while seeking limited royal engagement from a distance. Financial strains from the loss of their Spotify partnership, reduced Netflix profits, and a $2 million yearly security fee have increased, leading to layoffs at Archewell and a strategic shift away from royal ties and into independent business. Due to these developments, the public and royal aides increasingly view this milestone as closure rather than conflict. The Sussexes have formally separated from the crown, their fellow royals are acclimating to their absence, and Harry and Meghan are starting a new chapter based on independence, privacy, and business endeavors away from the shadows of the palace. We have now verified all the essential aspects of this breakup. Prince Harry also breaks the silence at the palace. The courts have repeatedly and meticulously examined all these issues, reaching the same conclusion on each occasion. Buckingham Palace made its first direct response to Harry's allegations of an establishment stitch-up and behind-the-scenes interference by royal household officials in a rare public statement in early May 2025, after Prince Harry lost in the Court of Appeal over the reinstatement of complete UK police protection. At the same time, Harry told the BBC in a moving interview from California that King Charles III, who has been receiving cancer treatment, has stopped talking to him because of this security stuff, and that he doesn't know how much longer my father has. Harry bemoaned that it is impossible to bring Meghan and their children back to the UK without adequate security, calling the conflict a deeply personal family dispute and stating that reconciliation remains his hope. But it's in his father's hands. Harry clarified the origin of the palace's statement by saying that he never asked his father to intervene, and instead requested that Charles allow security experts to do their job, condemning the royal household's involvement in the Ravec procedure. The palace stressed its faith in the legal system in its formal response. Simultaneously, Harry's on-camera remarks revealed the public tensions and emotional distance despite unresolved issues and familial silence. He publicly reached out, expressing his desire for closure and advocating for a resolution based on the idea that life is precious. Prince Harry's initial statement on Meghan. Following Prince Harry's court setback over UK security in May 2025, several tabloid outlets sensationalized the claim that he had made a supposedly final declaration about Meghan, using the words, "It's done," which suggested a separation or divorce. This story lacked any solid proof. Harry did not refer to his father's divorce in his public remarks during his BBC interview or at gatherings like the New York Times Deal Book Summit. Instead, he concentrated entirely on his father's quiet, unresolved security concerns and attempts at reconciliation. In an April 2025 article published in The Times of India, Meghan reaffirmed their partnership, categorically denying divorce rumors. She also emphasized Harry's support for her career and personal aspirations. Additionally, at the 2024 Deal Book Summit, Harry addressed and dismissed recurring rumors of a divorce, pointing out that the media had already divorced them 10 or 12 times. He stressed that these stories are not trustworthy news, but rather fabrications driven by public obsession. The couple's steady relationship was further strengthened in early 2025 when sources discuss the Sussex United Front and their collaboration on family and community projects. Therefore, no evidence, whether it be a court document, a verified interview, or original reporting, supports the notion that Harry has done anything to Meghan. Instead, they continue to prioritize their marriage, family, and career endeavors in California. Any conflicts between Harry and the royal institution are solely related to security and have nothing to do with his relationship with Meghan. Prince Harry's clan-shaking statement. In 2025, Prince Harry was said to have made the shocking declaration, "There's no future with her." The media and royal circles were shocked by this statement, which sparked considerable curiosity about his relationship with Meghan Markle. Nevertheless, a thorough review of all reliable sources, government declarations, and recent interviews shows that neither Harry nor his aides have verified any such clear assertion. The Duke of Sussex, on the other hand, has openly and often defended his marriage, highlighting the cooperation and fortitude he and his wife have demonstrated in the face of outside influences and the continuous difficulties they have faced with the British establishment. The misunderstanding is the result of misreading remarks made amid private conflicts over security plans and tense ties with the royal family, where annoyances over their situation have been magnified into dramatic headlines. Harry's May 2025 legal battle over diminished police protection in the UK exposed family conflicts and garnered significant media attention. However, he never explicitly stated that he did not see a future with Meghan. According to people close to the couple, Harry and Meghan continued to prioritize protecting their family, furthering charitable causes, and establishing a life in California, despite their estrangement from the royal family. In a series of interviews and public appearances in 2024 and 2025, Harry and Meghan reaffirmed their commitment, with Meghan characterizing their relationship and Harry calling divorce rumors completely unfounded. Therefore, even though royal insiders concede that there are still issues, the provocative statement, "There is no future with her," is a media exaggeration of Prince Harry's complicated and evolving relationship with the royal institution and his wife, rather than a direct quotation from him. Prince Harry puts the fairy tale to rest officially. Prince Harry publicly closed a crucial chapter of his life in 2025, putting an end to what many had previously considered a contemporary royal fairy tale. Harry's declaration marked a dramatic shift from the romanticized portrayal of his connection and role within the British monarchy, which had been the subject of years of intense media attention, public speculation, and personal struggles. Protracted discussions concerning Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's public positions and persistent conflicts with the royal family led to the announcement of this news. Harry stated that he would rather devote all his attention to his family, charity endeavors, and personal development than continue putting on a front that no longer accurately represented who he was. The once hopeful and promising fairy tale had turned into a source of suffering and annoyance as the couple dealt with constant media attention and arguments over royal customs and expectations. A period of introspection and private discussions preceded this public closure, which made clear Harry's need to rediscover himself outside of the conventional confines of monarchy. Many people were moved by the declaration, which represented a significant shift in how contemporary royals address personal issues and the evolving nature of royalty in the 21st century. Critics discussed the potential ramifications for the royal institution's future, while supporters commended Harry for his honesty and bravery in rewriting his story on his terms. Harry's formal departure from the fairy tale marks not just the end of a relationship or chapter, but also the start of a new era characterized by independence, authenticity, and a redesigned role that puts one's own needs ahead of those of the public. Prince Harry's life-changing experience. Global audiences have been captivated by Prince Harry's transformation from a recognized royal to a passionate advocate, culminating in his historic departure from the royal family in 2021. The event marks a pivotal moment in the history of contemporary monarchy. Harry's 2018 marriage to Meghan Markle marked an essential milestone in his early public life and represented hope for a more modern and inclusive royal family. Harry was once crowned the prince of all fairy tales. Conversations about race, tradition, and change within the British monarchy soon centered on their nuptials. However, there were escalating conflicts and difficulties hidden beneath the public's interest. The intrusive media attention and Harry's growing unease with royal customs caused him to reassess his objectives over time. In early 2020, Harry and Meghan shocked the world by announcing their decision to step back from their high-level royal responsibilities, a move that broke with centuries of tradition. The pair first moved to North America in search of financial independence and more control over their lives. Despite lingering disputes, their departure sparked more extensive conversations about privacy, mental health, and the evolving role of the monarchy in modern society. As of 2025, Harry is still establishing a new identity outside of royal expectations by focusing on mental health advocacy, charitable endeavors, and creating a private family life beyond the palace walls. His transition from royal love to royal departure is a reflection of larger cultural shifts regarding institutional restraints and individual freedom. Others view Harry's metamorphosis as a brave step toward authenticity and self-determination, underscoring the challenges of striking a balance between one's happiness and public responsibilities in a rapidly changing world. In contrast, others lament the conventional royal narrative. No future together was Prince Harry's final statement. Prince Harry made a clear and definitive declaration in 2025 that there is no future together with Meghan Markle, eliminating any possibility of a misunderstanding about his relationship status. Their marriage, once hailed as a representation of contemporary royal progressiveness, but now increasingly strained by institutional and personal pressures, was the culmination of years of public conjecture and media hysteria. Following a period of introspection and multiple attempts to resolve their differences and the complex challenges presented by their unique situation as public figures, Harry made his announcement. No future together emphasized a conclusion, and Harry's resolve to move on his own, prioritizing his children's welfare, his happiness, and his mental health. Royal traditionalists who viewed the revelation as a departure from the monarchy's contemporary narrative were critical, while others worldwide expressed sympathy for Harry's quest for authenticity. In giving his last words, Harry also highlighted the significant challenges of maintaining intimate bonds in the face of constant public scrutiny and structural demands specific to the royal family. In addition to his personal life, this declaration marks a pivotal moment in the evolving role of modern royalty as institutional tradition and individual freedom increasingly come into conflict. Harry emphasizes self-respect and the freedom to rewrite one's fate outside of the royal realm in his final speech, which stands as a potent monument to the bravery needed to recognize when a relationship no longer serves one's future as he forges a new path beyond the shadows of his past. Prince Harry verifies Meghan and I are over, says the Duke. In 2025, Prince Harry reached a dramatic turning point in a story that had played out under constant international scrutiny for years when he made a profoundly personal and groundbreaking public declaration. Meghan and I are over. As many had long speculated, this declaration clarified the end of Prince Harry's relationship with Meghan Markle. Without Meghan by his side, the Duke of Sussex, who once seemed to epitomize contemporary royal romanticism, must now redefine his public and personal identities. The fact that Harry made his declaration following months of private discussions and introspection demonstrated how challenging it is to maintain a high-profile relationship while balancing competing demands from the royal institution, media interference, and their own evolving personal needs. This announcement eliminated any doubt regarding the couple's split, even though they had already endured considerable speculation about their marriage. The Duke said they made this choice out of mutual respect and concern for their well-being, especially their kids' safety and happiness. This declaration sparked a global media frenzy, sparking discussions about the demands placed on royal couples and the boundaries of love in such unconventional situations. A change in the royal family's approach to personal disclosures is also reflected in Harry's candor, which breaks with long-standing customs of keeping quiet about personal affairs. The Duke's speech reminds the public that even characters from fairy tales face very human challenges, while also highlighting a new era of transparency and the agonizing realities behind the headlines. Harry's future seems firmly centered on recovery and development, transcending the connection that once significantly shaped his public persona. Prince Harry walks alone, the end of an era. Prince Harry's decision to walk alone in 2025 marks a journey from royal expectations to individual autonomy, representing the culmination of a period of significant personal and public transformation. Following years of negotiating the intricate relationships between media pressure, family loyalty, and his yearning for independence, Harry has chosen a course characterized by autonomy and self-healing. A move toward putting mental health and individual authenticity above conventional roles and public approbation is shown by this divergence from the narrative that is commonly associated with Meghan Markle and the British monarchy. The prince's decision to live alone is a reflection of the disillusion of a well-known relationship, as well as a larger statement about the difficulties contemporary royals have in striking a balance between solitude and public scrutiny. His separation from the alliance that once appeared destined to transform royal life is both literal and symbolic. From admiration for his bravery to concern about the loneliness that might accompany such a significant transition, the public's responses have been mixed. Harry's position, however, highlights resiliency, demonstrating a readiness to face harsh realities and shoulder the costs of abandoning dependable support networks. He may focus on his fatherhood, charitable endeavors, and personal development while walking alone, free from the demands of marriage and royal expectations. Harry's story is a powerful reminder that even people born into privilege experience very human challenges, and that sometimes walking alone is the first step toward reclaiming one's identity and future in a society where public figures rarely show vulnerability. The last chapter starts. In 2025, after years of intense public scrutiny and internal conflict, the story of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle reaches a pivotal point. Once considered the embodiment of a modernized royal future, the pair is now facing a period of transformation and closure as their shared journey splits into distinct paths. Instead of scandal or drama, this stage is marked by a conscious effort to progress toward personal recovery and redefine their responsibilities within and outside of the royal environment. Since leaving their royal duties and relocating to North America, Harry and Meghan have had to contend with constant media attention, court cases, and the challenges of protecting their privacy in the digital era. The focus now is on how both of them will work toward their objectives, with Meghan focusing on her artistic and humanitarian endeavors, and Harry on his philanthropic and mental health endeavors as their partnership formally evolves. In addition to ending, the last chapter discusses fresh starts and the fortitude needed to reestablish one's identity in the face of change. This time frame also underscores the evolution of the British monarchy and the challenges its members face, illustrating how individual decisions can have a profound impact on society. As the world watches, the couple's decision to draw a boundary symbolizes maturity and acceptance, ushering in a future that honors the past while fostering development, independence, and harmony. The conclusion of Harry and Meghan's narrative ultimately serves as a poignant reminder of the complexities of love, family, and self-discovery in the spotlight, encouraging reflection on what it truly means to persevere following significant upheaval. Prince Harry reveals something startling. Prince Harry made a startling statement in 2025 that sparked controversy in both royal circles and the media. In an open conversation, the prince shared intimate details about his challenges in the royal family and the tremendous constraints that have influenced his choices over the last few years. Harry revealed that his relationship with the essential monarchs was becoming increasingly strained, and that his decision to resign from official duties was the result of long-standing disputes and miscommunications. He disclosed that beneath the public persona, there were significant differences of opinion over mental health care, privacy, and the role he wanted to play in the future with his family. The bombshell also revealed the psychological toll of constant media attention, characterizing it as a driving force behind his quest for autonomy and a more genuine life away from the customary royal boundaries. His remarks emphasized the fine line that separates his happiness from what the public expects of him, and that his decisions were driven by the need to protect his family's and his mental health. The swift and extensive response sparked debates about the monarchy's significance in the modern era, the role of the media, and the challenges faced by members of the royal family in the digital age. Supporters praised Harry's courage and openness, while detractors questioned the timing and potential effects on royal unity. This bombshell not only altered the public's perception of Harry's journey, but also brought attention to broader issues within the organization. Prince Harry's revelations ultimately marked a pivotal moment in his life and the ongoing discourse surrounding tradition, transformation, and the human aspect of the royal family. Prince Harry makes a revolutionary royal declaration. The public and private narrative surrounding Prince Harry's life and future in the British monarchy was drastically altered in 2025 by his royal statement, which also marked a significant shift in his connection with the institution and how the world perceived him. Harry's goals were made clear with unwavering honesty and a focus on his well-being in this historic statement that addressed long-standing rumors and ambiguities. In the statement, Harry acknowledged the challenges of striking a balance between his royal responsibilities and his own identity and mental health, a cause he has supported in recent years. This declaration, in contrast to the meticulously crafted pronouncements of the past, was honest and unreserved, addressing the difficulties he encountered both inside and outside the royal walls. Harry emphasized the challenges of juggling a role that frequently felt at odds with his ideals, the effects of constant media attention, and damaged family relationships. By being transparent about his difficulties, Harry invited the public to understand the more profound truths underlying his decisions, shifting the discussion away from conjecture. The statement also underlined his advocacy and philanthropic endeavors, reaffirming that even though he relinquishes his customary royal duties, his devotion to service is unshakable. In an era when people are increasingly concerned with authenticity and mental health, this event challenged the monarchy to change by redefining the boundaries between personal suffering and public obligation. Many criticized what they saw as a break from royal tradition, while others applauded Harry's bravery. The response to the statement was swift and divided. In any case, this royal declaration revolutionized everything by shedding light on the personal costs of royalty and the need to pave a new course that respects both humanity and legacy. Prince Harry's disclosure, My Attempt to Preserve Us. A highly personal confession made by Prince Harry in 2025 revealed the emotional toll that his romances and royal duties have placed on him, shedding new light on the hardships and heartache that lie beneath his very public life. Harry acknowledged in an open interview that, "I tried to save us," referring to his marriage and his attempts to make peace with his position in the British royal family. Years of conjecture on his difficulties and conflicts, both public and private, led to this disclosure. Harry discussed the arduous struggle to keep his family together and shield them from constant public criticism and internal pressures, while also attempting to find serenity for himself and the people he cares about. He discussed times when he felt uncertain, frustrated, and overwhelmed by the weight of being in the spotlight and having to live up to standards that frequently seemed unachievable. This admission showcased his genuine desire to reconcile and preserve his values, despite the obstacles that ultimately hindered his progress. Often seen through the lenses of duty and tradition, Harry's openness about his weaknesses illuminates the nuanced human emotions that underlie even the most public lives. Many people who understand the everyday struggle of maintaining unity when uncontrollable forces intervene resonated with the response. The extreme strains that contemporary royals face, as well as the limits of their resilience in the face of intrusive media, family strife, and personal suffering, were exposed by this moment of candor. A powerful reminder that underlying the opulence of monarchy is a person trying to find hope and healing in the face of hardship is provided by Prince Harry's confession. Prince Harry's version of events. For this moving statement, "No More Her," Prince Harry finally broke his silence in 2025 to give his version of events, marking the end of his relationship with Meghan Markle and the closure of a chapter that had captivated the world for years. This disclosure followed a time of considerable conjecture, gossip, and media attention that frequently misrepresented the reality of their difficulties. With an emphasis on how both personal incompatibilities and outside influences contributed to their split, Harry's story offered a unique window into the emotional and psychological difficulties that underlie their partnership. He emphasized the difficulty of conducting a high-profile marriage under the royal limelight, where every moment was scrutinized and analyzed, the constant violation of privacy, and the pressure of public expectations. Additionally, Harry discussed the significant effects of having different ideas about the future, stating that "No More Her" was not only about a relationship ending, but also the realization that their objectives, values, and roots had profoundly changed. By challenging numerous public narratives, this candid explanation shifted the discussion away from dramatic headlines and toward a more nuanced understanding of the human aspects involved. Those who have experienced comparable hardships in their lives found resonance in the Duke's statement, which highlighted the universal anguish of realizing when love no longer supports growth and well-being. As Harry moves on without Meghan, his perspective contributes to a broader discussion about the cost of celebrity, the challenges of personal transformation, and the bravery required to accept life after a relationship that no longer aligns with one's destiny. Prince Harry says, "This is farewell." In 2025, Prince Harry delivered a moving and heartfelt farewell speech titled, "This is Goodbye," which went viral and marked the end of a significant period of his life, marked by both success and hardship. Harry admitted in this intensely private letter the emotional burden of leaving his marriage to Meghan Markle, as well as many of the roles and connections that have molded his character over the years. He opened up about how difficult it was to live under constant public scrutiny and how it affected his happiness and mental health. To prioritize his own and his children's well-being, Harry emphasized that saying goodbye was not just the end, but also an essential step toward recovery and growth. In the particular setting of royal life, where personal hardships are frequently made public spectacles, the Duke considered the intricacies of love and grief. His message, which emphasized the importance of self-respect and the bravery needed to leave circumstances that no longer uplift one's soul, was one of acceptance and hope. In addition to requesting solitude and respect, Harry used this farewell to ask for time to rebuild his life away from the constant media scrutiny. The public's reaction to this declaration was divided. Some expressed sympathy for his weakness, while others bemoaned the passing of a period in the royal family's history. Harry's farewell ultimately encapsulated the complicated reality of moving forward, acknowledging the losses while embracing the potential that lies ahead. Prince Harry and the Crown's Lost Love. In 2025, Prince Harry and the royal family's story remains a gripping tale of love lost within the strict and often harsh structure of the monarchy, illustrating how private relationships can be sacrificed for the sake of tradition, duty, and public scrutiny. Harry's journey, from a young prince dreaming of a contemporary fairy tale to a man struggling with the harsh realities of royal expectations, illustrates the challenging task of striking a balance between one's ambitions and the demands of an institution that has existed for centuries. His union with Meghan Markle was essentially hailed as a significant step toward modernization and diversity in the royal family. Still, it soon became apparent that even the most important relationships are vulnerable to powerful forces. The constant media intrusion, personal family conflicts, and divergent ideals strained their partnership in ways few outsiders fully comprehend. Thoughts on their relationship in 2025 highlight how genuine emotion and devotion can be undermined by love when it is exposed to frequent other influences and competing loyalties. The human cost of royal life is brought to light by Prince Harry's experience, which shows how loyalty and collaboration can be sacrificed for duty and public opinion. In recognizing that the burden of the throne can be too much for those seeking freedom and fulfillment, his decision to resign from royal duties and ultimately split was a turning point. Behind the pomp and circumstance, members of the royal family face the same weaknesses and heartbreaks as everyone else, which are often exacerbated by the world's constant scrutiny. This loss of love is a moving reminder of that. Harry's narrative continues to encourage discussion about the necessity of empathy, change, and the acceptance of individual liberty within the monarchical system. Prince Harry's decision, freedom over duty. A pivotal point in Prince Harry's life and the changing history of the British monarchy was his decision in 2025 to prioritize his independence over traditional royal duties, highlighting the intricate conflicts between love, duty, and self-identity. During his journey, Harry has been torn between his desire to live a genuine life and the demands of royal duties. This tension grew after he married Meghan Markle and faced heavy media scrutiny. The profound emotional cost of living a life dictated by custom and public expectations was made evident by this delicate balancing act, which is frequently unnoticed by the general public. Renouncing official royal positions, altering familial relationships, and facing widespread criticism were all difficult realities that came with choosing freedom. But for Harry, independence meant regaining agency, mental health, and the chance to form genuine relationships outside of the monarchy's restrictive structure, not desertion. This decision reflects a further societal change, as it redefines legacy beyond inherited titles, personal boundaries, and mental well-being. Though they are frequently combined, love and responsibility can also conflict, requiring people to make tough choices about which to uphold when they cannot coexist, as Harry's story illustrates. His journey exemplifies the bravery needed to defy expectations, particularly in a setting steeped in centuries of history. Harry changed his fate by deciding to be free, and he also started essential discussions about the future of the monarchy and the human needs that underlie royal duties. As a poignant illustration of what it means to live authentically amid extreme pressure, his narrative continues to resonate as a symbol of the conflict between individual fulfillment and societal responsibility. Prince Harry's tipping point. By 2025, Prince Harry's candid admissions offered a profound understanding of the psychological and emotional pressures that ultimately led to his collapse, marking a pivotal moment in his life and public image. The tremendous weight Harry felt managing his relationship with Meghan Markle in the face of constant public scrutiny and royal expectations is aptly expressed by this remark. Harry explained how his sense of self and mental health were severely strained by the constant media intrusion, family conflicts, and the need to protect his wife and kids. Meghan's modern values and freedoms and the strict tradition-bound systems of the British monarchy represented two very different worlds, and the weight was not just about the relationship, but also about the broader effects of attempting to reconcile them. Harry had endured years of internal strife, where love and loyalty collided with an increasing need for healing and independence. He was candid about the challenges of seeing Meghan suffer, particularly the prejudice and false information she encountered, which exacerbated his problems and strengthened his resolve to take a back seat. This vulnerable moment revealed the personal cost of royal life and the sacrifices required for a career that is frequently viewed as beautiful from the outside. His admission of this burden encourages a more sympathetic comprehension of the intricacies behind Harry's choices. When expectations clash with one's own well-being and family safety, it acts as a potent reminder of the limitations of endurance. Prince Harry, conflicted but final. A man divided between his allegiance to the royal family and his need for independence. Prince Harry's open observations on his emotional journey in 2025 culminate in a resolute proclamation that he is finally free of the limitations that have shaped his existence for so long. This disclosure follows years of intense media intrusion, family strife, and public scrutiny that have weakened his fortitude and altered who he is. Harry discussed how his principles and mental health needs frequently clashed with the intense pressure of royal expectations and his affection for his family. He respected the strong ties and customs, but the pressure to fit in and hide his actual personality became intolerable. This battle is summed up in his comment, "Torn but done," which combines a deep sense of loss with relief and a resolve to go according to his terms. Resigning from public positions and official responsibilities was not a hasty decision. Instead, it was the result of a growing realization that he and his loved ones' well-being would suffer if he continued in the same direction. Harry's journey serves as an example of the challenges faced by modern royals who must maintain a delicate balance between personal freedom and responsibility in an era when mental health and authenticity are increasingly valued. He promotes a broader discussion about the human side of royalty, where conflicting allegiances and tough decisions coexist, by being transparent about these difficulties. Prince Harry's statement ultimately signifies a significant shift as he embraces independence while acknowledging the psychological impact of leaving an institution that both shaped and constrained him. Prince Harry's path from darkness to self-awareness. Prince Harry's journey in 2025 represents a significant shift from living under the shadow of royal expectations to embracing a path of self-discovery and personal truth, marking a turning point in both his life and the history of the modern monarchy. Harry has taken action to reclaim his individuality outside of the confines of conventional royal responsibilities after years of enduring severe media scrutiny, familial expectations, and public debate. During this journey, he has had to face brutal realities about his relationships, upbringing, and the institution he was born into. This experience has led him to make the brave choice to put his mental health and personal independence first. He has demonstrated a dedication to mending and reinventing what it means to serve throughout 2025, not through titles and ceremonies, but through sincere advocacy and purposeful labor. Harry's adjustment also mirrors a larger cultural trend in which individualism and mental health are valued more highly than strict adherence to routine. By abandoning his official responsibilities and focusing on his family, creative interests, and humanitarian work, he has aimed to leave a legacy rooted in genuine influence rather than mere symbolism. Numerous people can relate to his narrative because it emphasizes the everyday struggle to overcome expectations and discover one's authentic voice amidst external noise. It also highlights the difficulties faced by people born into the spotlight, where every choice is scrutinized and frequently misinterpreted. From a shadowy prince to a self-aware individual, Prince Harry's journey exemplifies the ongoing tension between tradition and change, heritage and modernity, and the challenges of forging a new identity in a society that both venerates and questions the concept of royalty. Prince Harry and the royal family's separation. The emotional gap that had subtly grown over the years was captured in 2025 when Prince Harry candidly acknowledged the terrible reality of his breakup with the royal family, saying, "We grew apart." This expression captures not only a personal split, but also a more significant shift within the monarchy as Harry dealt with escalating hostilities, divergent morals, and competing visions for the future. His connection with essential family members, once tight and encouraging, soured due to disputes, media conflicts, and ideological disagreements, making reconciliation more challenging. Harry discussed how the ties that had seemed unshakable were gradually weakened by the demands of royal life, which were exacerbated by internal conflicts and public expectations. Miscommunications and unfulfilled desires widen the gap, highlighting instances where attempts to connect failed. The acknowledgement that we grew apart is not indicative of a sudden break, but instead of a gradual, agonizing development in which affection and respect for one another battled to overcome underlying obstacles. This distance also reflected Harry's increasing desire to chart a new course and prioritize his family's welfare over custom and appearances. His decision to leave his formal position and move was both a symptom and a cause of this growing gap. Harry expressed acceptance of the bittersweet need to move on, reflecting on his feelings despite the anguish of growing apart. This story has contributed to a shift in public opinion by evoking sympathy for the high personal cost of royal life and the challenging decisions faced by individuals born into its unique requirements. The phrase, "we grew apart," ultimately signifies the end of a chapter and the unpredictable yet hopeful future that lies beyond the palace gates. Prince Harry says the crown can't hold her. Prince Harry's 2025 thoughts on the phrase, "the crown can't carry her," demonstrate a profound and nuanced appreciation for Meghan Markle's constraints and demands within the royal institution, highlighting how the conventional monarchy struggled to provide her with support that took into account her needs and individuality. In addition to Meghan's difficulties, this statement highlights the broader conflict between the evolving demands of contemporary royals and the inflexibility of centuries-old customs. Harry has been open about how Meghan's encounters with the royal family, which were characterized by cultural miscommunications, negative media coverage, and a lack of institutional support, uncovered serious flaws in the monarchy's ability to adapt to modern times. Together, they decided to resign from their royal duties since the crown, which stood for authority and tradition, was unable to shield or support them during the fierce public and private conflicts they encountered. According to Harry, Meghan's problems were not unique to her. Instead, they reflected structural issues within the palace, where outdated beliefs and a reluctance to adapt created a potentially harmful and alienating atmosphere. The royal family needs to modernize, especially in terms of mental health support, cultural awareness, and acceptance of other origins. This acknowledgement highlights an essential discussion about that need. Harry's reflection on the Crown's inability to assist Meghan is both a personal grievance and a plea for change, implying that for the monarchy to endure and prosper, it must move beyond rules and symbols to assist people who wear it. This viewpoint continues to fuel debate on the British monarchy's future in the 21st century. What Prince Harry has never said up until now. After a lengthy period of silence, Prince Harry finally spoke up in 2025, sharing a deeply personal and candid account of the challenges that have shaped his public and private life over the last decade. This unprecedented transparency enables him to reclaim his story on his terms by illuminating parts of his experience that were previously hidden by royal protocol and media conjecture. Despite the support of his family and employees, Harry discussed the psychological toll of ongoing scrutiny and his growing sense of loneliness. He spoke about how challenging it is for him to strike a balance between the urge to establish his identity outside the royal family and the need to protect his loved ones. Constant criticism and invasive media attention intensified this conflict between him and Meghan Markle. Harry's discussion of his mental health struggles was significant since it showed how difficult it was to get help because of the royal environment's stigma and expectations. Along with expressing regret for unresolved family disputes, he emphasized his willingness to move forward and work toward healing. By exposing these realities, Harry hoped to bring humanity to the frequently romanticized portrayal of royal life and highlight the importance of showing empathy and tolerance toward individuals in the spotlight. His disclosure shed light on the complicated connection between obligation, allegiance, and individual liberty, exposing that underlying the titles and rituals are incredibly weak people battling common problems. This moment of candor is crucial to Harry's story because it enables him to speak about things he had long repressed, promoting broader conversations about openness, mental health, and the evolving role of the monarchy in contemporary society. Prince Harry, Verdict, Unvarnished. In 2025, Prince Harry presented a version of his truth that had not been influenced by palace handlers, media spin, or public relations storylines, offering his most unvarnished account to date of his journey from royal life to personal emancipation. In an exclusive, in-depth interview, Harry cleared up public misunderstandings and revealed the emotional burden he concealed behind his polished princely persona. He opened up about his inner turmoil, including how he felt stifled in a system that prioritizes appearance over personal fulfillment, and how it became impossible to ignore the tension between his morals and royal expectations. He claimed that taking a step back was an act of survival rather than a betrayal of tradition. He said that a rising sense of responsibility for his mental health, love, and parenting drove him to challenge systems that would not change. Interestingly, Harry faced criticism directly when he stated that he and his loved ones needed to distance themselves from the agony of unrestrained media abuse and internal neglect, not because he was rebelling. In addition, he was honest about his grief for broken relationships, misinterpreted intentions, and the agonizing fact that recovery can take a lifetime. However, by disclosing his experiences, Harry showed a level of openness uncommon in royal circles. Not only did this uncensored moment alter his public persona, but it also challenged outdated notions of masculinity and responsibility, transforming the world's perception of contemporary monarchy. Declaring Prince Harry's truth in its entirety is a symbolic end to centuries of royal secrecy as well as a personal reckoning. The Crown versus Prince Harry, the actual split. By 2025, Prince Harry's relationship with the British monarchy had evolved from a private choice to a significant and symbolic split from the Crown itself. Although Harry's relationship with Meghan Markle initially received a lot of media attention, he later disclosed in an uncensored interview and an excerpt from his impending memoir that his more profound alienation was not with people, but with the monarchy as a whole. After years of emotional neglect, internal strife, and what he described as a loyalty contract signed without consent, Harry claimed that the true fracture had started long before his marriage and that he felt more and more alienated in a system that valued tradition, image, and obedience over individuality and well-being. The choice to resign from royal obligations in 2020 was only the first step. By 2025, Harry had made it plain that he no longer wanted to be involved in the workings of the royal enterprise. He formally renounced his royal patronage and ceremonial roles, further separating himself from official events, and emphasized that, despite being adored by millions, the Crown had not changed to better serve its citizens, particularly those who suffered behind closed palace doors. The actual split was gradual, agonizing, and accompanied by decades of silence. The human cost of tradition when it disregards emotional truth was brought to the world's notice by Harry's insight. In a society that is changing and no longer characterized by unquestioning loyalty, his departure signifies more than just an exit. It is a redefining of what royalty entails. Prince Harry and Meghan's mistakes. In a private sit-down interview in 2025, Prince Harry finally addressed the issues between him and Meghan Markle, offering insight into a romance that captivated the public and sparked discussion, conflict, and ultimately a breakup. Harry claims that the breakup was caused by a protracted string of unresolved disputes, misaligned visions, and outside forces that subtly eroded the foundation of their relationship rather than a single incident. He openly discussed how their original sense of solidarity, which had driven them to stand together in the face of public scrutiny, institutional resistance, and media animosity, had evolved into fatigue. Conflicting tactics and emotional exhaustion hampered their united objective to redefine royal duties and preserve their family. Harry disclosed that although their 2020 split from the monarchy was presented as a shared choice, they had gradually started to diverge in their interpretations of what freedom and meaning outside the royal family meant. He saw that internalized pain and unrelenting public expectations lead to emotional detachment and silent hatred. While Harry battled to reconcile his past and future selves, Meghan, who was equally principled and motivated, reportedly felt bound by his continued allegiance to the exact system they had abandoned. The strains of establishing a life in the United States, raising children in the public eye, and bearing the weight of ongoing attention only exacerbated their differences. Harry finally confessed that they were two people who had fought hard for each other, but had lost the ability to listen to each other honestly. According to him, their split was a painful development rather than a failure. The termination of Prince Harry and Meghan, his statements, not hers. In 2025, Prince Harry described the end of his romance with Meghan Markle in a very intimate way. He stressed that although their narrative had been widely circulated, it was time for the world to hear his words, unfiltered, final, and wholly his own. Harry explained in a lengthy taped interview for a new global mental health project that their split was not abrupt, dramatic, or motivated by treachery, but rather, as he put it, a quiet understanding that the journey we began together had come to its natural close. For the first time, he broke with the media-driven image of Harry and Meghan as a brand, saying that their identities had been confused and conflated for far too long. The man he was becoming was no longer in line with the one he had to become to maintain that partnership, he said, even if he still respects and is grateful for everything they created together. Over time, their differences, which had previously been a source of strength, became irreconcilable, particularly when combined with the pressure of international attention and the expectations each party placed on the partnership. The end of Harry and Meghan was a straightforward, grim truth he needed to express for himself, he explained, not a pronouncement full of blame. His words were a meditation on identity, individuality, and self-worth, in addition to providing closure for their well-publicized chapter. To Harry, saying those words aloud was the first step in letting go of the story that other people had created for him and pursuing his life as Harry on his terms. A prince without a spouse. Prince Harry was in a position that few could have foreseen when he left his royal duties 5 years prior, publicly navigating life as a prince without a partner by the middle of 2025. Harry spoke candidly for the first time about the emotional realities of being physically and spiritually separated from the person he formerly spent the most tumultuous and life-changing years with during a veterans' mental health forum in Toronto. To a shocked but encouraging crowd, he admitted, "When the person who used to know your world better than anyone is no longer part of it, there's an odd kind of silence." Instead of making a dramatic revelation, this person, who has constantly substituted theatrics for vulnerability, made a measured and honest statement. Harry revealed that although he and Meghan are dedicated to the stability of their children and co-parenting remains a top priority, their romantic relationship is now over. He talked about taking long walks, spending nights alone, and the emotional struggle of reinventing himself as an individual seeking his path rather than being part of a global power couple. With the statement, the focus shifted from conjecture to conclusion. The firm has discreetly acknowledged his new status, according to royal sources, by removing his name from collaborative charitable initiatives that were formerly associated with Meghan. Harry has received a great deal of sympathy from the public, who have praised him for being open about loneliness, loss, and personal development. Harry, a prince without a mate, now stands for something new, a person approaching adulthood, leadership, and self-awareness independently without a title-dependent identity or shared spotlight. His words, her silence, it's all over. There was a noticeable weight to Prince Harry's 2025 public admission of his relationship with Meghan Markle's breakdown. His remarks broke the long-standing hush surrounding the couple's disintegration, while Meghan Markle remained remarkably silent and made no public reply. The public was intrigued by the juxtaposition between his vulnerability and her lack of involvement in the story, but Harry clarified that silence does not mean apathy. In an emotional interview with an independent British-American media agency, he explained how he concluded that clarity, rather than controversy, was required. There are times when you have to talk, not so that the world will hear you, but so that you can hear yourself. He revealed that the quiet between them had started long before the public became aware of its talks that had once drawn them closer, became cautious, then infrequent, and finally stopped. He explained that their final split was not spectacular, but instead based on unspoken realities that neither of them could deny. Harry acknowledged that he occasionally hoped things might improve. Still, he ultimately came to terms with the fact that remaining together would only widen the gulf they had come to dislike. According to him, Meghan chose to live away from the cacophony that used to engulf them both, so she kept quiet to preserve her tranquility. He appreciated it. With one voice speaking what needed to be heard and another opting not to, their story, once a worldwide emblem of tenacity and defiance, came to an end without a news release or public backlash. Not everything has to be said, Harry said in the end. There are instances when the only logical response is silence. The phrase that put an end to it all. Early in 2025, Prince Harry made a concise yet impactful public statement that signaled the end of one of the most scrutinized royal relationships in contemporary history. A well-crafted press release swiftly disseminated the statement, "We are no longer walking the same path," throughout the world's media. Unlike previous remarks or interviews that hinted at difficulties and misalignment, this pronouncement was definitive. The decision to go public with such a clear message came after almost a year of private separation, co-parenting efforts, and intense introspection, according to insiders. It wasn't just the end of a marriage. It was the official closing of an identity built around Harry and Meghan. Formerly adamantly defending and shielding his wife from royal expectations and media abuse, Harry suddenly admitted that love, devotion, and shared suffering were insufficient to keep two people together forever. The Duke wrote the entire letter himself, according to people close to him, confirming months of internal deliberation and a desire to put an end to rumors. Despite her silence following the statement, pals said Meghan subtly backed Harry's desire for attention. Fans and critics alike found immense resonance in the precision of those 8 words: straightforward, courteous, and irrevocable. They signaled the tranquil conclusion of a complex chapter rather than scandal or betrayal. With that declaration, Harry started to define his future rather than defend the past, completely entering a story that was only connected to his voice and no longer bound by custom, expectation, or shared branding. The last word from Prince Harry. "I can't see a world in which I would be bringing my wife and children back to the UK at this point," Prince Harry said in a BBC interview in May 2025, following the loss of his Court of Appeal challenge to reinstate complete state-funded protection in the UK. He claimed that the lack of security puts his family in danger and cited credible threats, such as an aggressive paparazzi pursuit, to make clear that his dispute marked the end of a chapter rooted in British ties. He expressed his profound disappointment, stating that he was devastated and struggling to forgive, but he also stressed that his intention was not to prolong the conflict. This legal battle was fundamentally a family dispute. Harry highlighted what he called a new precedent that security can be used to control, revealing how the security downgrade, which was planned through Ravek, with purported behind-the-scenes influence from the royal household, effectively prevented him from leaving Puaduk. He indicated that King Charles III had remained silent, attributing the delay to the disagreement. However, he expressed his disappointment by pleading for reconciliation, recognizing the shortness of time in light of the king's cancer prognosis. Even though he said that life is precious and that reconciliation is still possible, Harry proclaimed this story over, embracing a future in California that would be centered on his family and free from the restrictions of the royal family. Thanks for watching Past Paradise. your go-to for real stories behind the spotlight. If you want more raw moments, bold confessions, and the truth behind Hollywood and royalty, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Until next time, stay curious.
If you've watched the video till here, that means you've enjoyed the video. Subscribe. Don't forget to turn on the notifications bell icon